Great morning, and happy Father's Day to each and every one. I want to thank our team, most definitely our readers, our media team, and also our congregants and friends and family members who are with us today. Thank you so much for being present and for your participation in the Ministry of Unity of Brooklyn. Thank you so much. Well, before we get really into our lesson, I just want to speak for a second, as Tanya did, concerning Juneteenth. We know that on this past week, President Joe Biden signed into law a bill that created Juneteenth, that's June 19th, as a federal holiday. There was a petition of about 300,000 signatures that supported that decision, along with some of the companies that gave their employees the day off as a federal holiday or time and a half. And some of those companies were Nike and Twitter and Spotify and Best Buy. And I know that as time goes on, that will increase. I'd love for you to hear the words of the Reverend Jackie Hawkins, a Unity minister, in reference to Juneteenth. And Reverend Jackie says that we must continue to work. We must continue the work of creating a society where all people are appreciated, are loved, and respected for who they are, rather than the color of their skin, their disability status, the name of their religion, or the preference of their sexuality. We are one in spirit. We are one humanity. So we must continue the work of creating a society where that reflects that we are one humanity and that we are one in spirit. Amen, amen, and amen. Well, happy Father's Day once again. Happy Father's Day to our biological fathers, to our stepfathers, to our fathers to be, our spiritual fathers, and all who mentor and coach in the fathering spirit. Happy Father's Day to each and every one. Well, the latest U.S. Census reports that the population in the U.S. is approximately 330 million. And of that 330 million, 72 million are fathers. So that's about 22% of the US population who are fathers. Parenting through fatherhood is stewardship. You know how we steward our money, we steward our things? Fatherhood is stewardship of the children that are placed in a father's care temporarily for a period of time. Stewardship of the children who are placed in a father's care temporarily for a period of time. Now, according to the scriptures, a parent's role is to raise the children in their care, point them Godward, teach spiritual morals and values, lead by example with loving discipline and guidance that brings them closer to their higher self. Now, I would admit with you that is a tall order. That is a tall order. And I commend all fathers who are committed and diligent in striving to be great fathers. I was speaking with a friend this past week, and this friend told me that he is known and people call him by several names and several titles. He said that some call him Reverend, and some call him Doctor. Others call him by his first name. And some of his buddies, when he meets up with his buddies, they simply say, hey guy, what's up? He went on to say that of all of the names that he is called in life and all of his titles by his family, by his friends, by colleague, and in the community, and so on, that there's one name that when it is spoken strikes him at the very core of his being. He said that it shakes him up and causes him at times to look within himself and evaluate himself, and sometimes even question himself and wonder, has he really done enough to earn this particular title? He said that when he's approached by this name that's only spoken by 3 particular people in his life, it takes him to a space in heart and mind that is limited in verbal description. He said that he cannot even verbalize how he feels when he hears this name, when he's called by this name. And the name that he was speaking of, the title that he was speaking of, was Daddy. That it shakes him at his core and causes him to look within and examine himself when he hears the name being spoken to him by his children, Daddy. You see, fathering a child may seem easy, but being a father to a child is not the same. Fathering a child may seem easy, but being a father to a child is not the same. And I think that those fathers who are listening today would agree. Being a daddy, a dad, a father is experiencing stewardship in a way like no other. It's experiencing a responsibility that has to be carried out in a way like no other. Being a dad who's in it to win it, that is, brings blessings as well as lessons. Being an involved father teaches selflessness. I know you know that. It teaches otherness. It teaches that it's no longer about me as a priority, but about someone else as a priority. And there are times in this parenting experience, in this fatherhood experience, when sometimes your dreams may had to have been placed on the shelf for a period of time because there's another priority at this time. And if that has happened in your life and you have gone through that experience and you have placed your dreams on the shelf so that you can father your children, I commend you. Now, in fatherhood, many lessons are learned. I'm sure you'll agree. And raising children is a now experience, a now experience. It's not an experience of, I'll feed you next week, I'll love you next month, I'll model for you next year. It is a now experience. And that causes us often as parents, as fathers, to have to shift our priorities. And being an involved father, committed to impacting with positive influence another's life, causes a father to do his best to model the Christ-like behavior. And living even a father, even a dad that is not church oriented, that is not religious oriented, he's doing his best to model his best. An involved father who is committed to impacting in a positive way and influencing in a positive way those children placed in his care. He's allowing God to use him, to express through him in wisdom, in love, and in loving guidance. Fatherhood will cause a dad at some point to just affirm and affirm and affirm. You know that when your children go out of the door of your home, you're affirming that they are protected at all times. And even when they're grown and living on their own, we're still affirming, you're still affirming, you're still affirming for their well-being. That's fatherhood. Fatherhood will teach a person forgiveness quite quickly. Forgiveness. And I think that fathers of girl children experience this forgiveness a little bit earlier in parenting because of the manner in which girl children can affect the heartstrings of the father. But fatherhood will cause a person to learn forgiveness and to forgive. And when there's an openness and a receptivity, fatherhood brings forth the blessing of the loving nature of God that is within this man. When a person is spiritually aware, acknowledges, and in relationship with their own higher power, the ego relaxes and the love of God organically flows. You know, when a godly father shows up, there is a loving, unspoken aura or spirit that permeates that atmosphere and causes his children to feel loved, to feel protected, and to feel cared for. When a father shows up and when a godly father shows up, it shifts the spirit in the atmosphere. Fatherhood brings forth humility, patience, spiritual strength. And I would agree that there's no textbook, there's no guaranteed workshops, there are no manuals that teach a father how to be a father. And so we do our best, fathers do their best at fathering their children. And the greatest that a father can do is to draw himself closer to God in order to model the character of God for his children. The characteristics of humility, forgiveness, patience, being approachable, a good listener, being available. Now, it has been said that God has a long fuse, a short memory, thick skin, and a big heart. God has a long fuse. That's patience. God has a short memory. That's forgiveness. God has thick skin. That's steadfastness. God has a huge heart. That's love. So, in our humanness, in the humanness of being a father, is it easy to step up to the plate of these characteristics? It's not always easy. And sometimes I would say that sometimes on some days it's a little more difficult than others. I think that the fathers who are listening have experienced that. But is it workable and is it worthy? Absolutely so. To be entrusted with the opportunity to pour into and to impact the souls of those in our care is a powerful honor and legacy that we leave. So, like father, like son, meaning the character of God as the father is the character of the son, the earthly father. So, because of that likeness, the characteristics of God already embody the earthly father. And so the fathers want to come to the point to release that and express that. There is no other father like a loving father, a father who allows the love of God to just flow naturally through him, from him, to his children and all around him. Jesus put it this way: I and the Father are one. One with God is a majority. One showing up as God is a majority. So again, I commend fathers. Fathering is easy, but being a father demonstrates the loving, providing, protecting, fathering heart of God that is steadfast, supportive, available, approachable, listening, and most definitely loving. When a father shows up, something special happens. You know, we talk a lot about mothers and mother's care, but I will tell you that when a father shows up, things change. And when a father shows up on a consistent basis, things change. When a father models the heart of God, things change. And so as we move through this life experience, my brothers, we always want to work towards modeling the heart of God, the love of God, the wisdom of God, and expressing that wisdom in a loving way, expressing that wisdom of God flowing through you in a loving way. I know that it is not always easy, but I also know that it is worthy. And I also know that those under the sound of the voice today are doing so to the best of your understanding. I commend you. Words cannot express how I commend you on being fathers and being there. And to those of us who may not have had the fathering experience in our life, we can look around at other fathers who have modeled that for us and be the best at it as we can. No matter what our experience has been with our Father, understand, please, that at that time in history, that person did the best that they could do to the best of their understanding. And so we coming to this point, express forgiveness, express love, and seek to demonstrate to the generation behind us in another way, in a better way. God bless you as you continue in your fatherhood. God bless you as you continue to experience the loving wisdom and guidance of God that you are open to and that you allow to move and flow through you and be you and become you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. And so it is. Let's just take this moment to turn within.